it's Kara, and I'm here with my friend Mike and Serial. He is also a part of the Echo Cell Collective. Thanks for joining me today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and I'm excited to get into this awesome series that you got going on.
Me too. You picked a classic spring slasher, so you want to tell me a little bit about what you picked and why you picked it?
Yes, so there's a lot of movies that I think of when you brought up the idea of spring slashers or slashers that give off spring vibes. And one of them that we settled upon is a movie that I always go back and forth with on if I really like it or if I'm like, I think I'm being nostalgic. And it is the original Children of the Corn. Obviously, everyone knows that it is a Stephen King adaptation. And for me, it kind of personifies spring, even though like if you kind of look at it, it does the brightness feels a little bit more summery, and I think it's more so because there's not as many trees because they're in a farm type area. There's more corn than anything, but we'll get into it more when we talk about the movie. But I think the religiousness of it all really pair and the what they talk about in this movie, the scriptures that they talk about really give like Easter, the followers, Last Supper, and then there's also like we can get into it more later, but like this reminds me of movies such as The Wicker Man and Midsummer, which are also very spring forward movies. So that's kind of why I settled upon Children of the Corn.
I love that you chose this movie. I love that you said that. I definitely see the Midsommar vibe with the colors and the field, the open field and the corn and everything. I'm really excited that you picked this. I'm going to be transparent and tell everyone this was my first time watching it since I'm still, getting into and watching all the old horror and keeping up with the new ones. So I watched it and my first thought, man, they must have been like looking for child actors and could not find them because I was sitting there and I was like, there's that guy looks like 30. They're not supposed to make it past 19, right? And you posted something and I was like, yeah, relatable.
They were very much pushing the boundaries on who they hired as childhood actors because I do believe, and I should have looked this up to confirm it, but I'm pretty sure it's always been talked about that Isaac, one of the main villains in this movie, um, is an adult when he played this character. He has some type of
Like a stunted
condition
growth.
that
Yeah.
made stunted his growth and his features and everything. And if you do close-ups, like you can see the that he's a bit older than what he portrays. But then there were just some characters that you're like, no, you're 35.
You're not
You
supposed
are
to be.
30. You can't be here. But yeah, that is something that constantly sticks out to me too. But I think too, when you look at time periods and how people aged, because the main characters, the protagonists, they just graduated college and they didn't look like I did when I was 22 years old.
No, I don't know. It's something about the way the world is. Like everyone looks so much older than what they actually are for the most part. Some
Yeah.
people look good for their age. Some people
Yeah.
look real good. Me, you can tell I'm old. But
Yeah.
we're getting there. But I'm really excited you picked this. That was my first thought. And also, I wanted to ask, since you kind of touched on why this was your favorite spring slasher, so we're talking about Stephen King adaptations. We're talking about books into movies. Now, have you ever read any of the books, like the Children of the Corn book?
I have not read The Children of the Corn. I want to say it was a short story of his. I can't fully remember, but I did not read that one. I actually didn't get into Stephen King until a few years ago, and I decided I was going to start from his first book and work my way through. I didn't get far. There's just some like I understand product of the times type stuff. I just was like, you know what? Maybe I'll skip it, give it a few years and I'll skip ahead to his more recent stuff because while I can see the adaptations, reading some stuff on paper takes a lot out of you for me. Um, but I will say, I did get through Salem's Lot, and everything everyone says about that book is so true. It is one of the scariest books that I've ever read. But I'm not, don't know too many of his books.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't personally read. Of course, you hear some of the crazy things about the It book, which I am like, I will never probably read that book because of that. But talking about movie adaptations, you have such iconic, movies that came out of Stephen King's work, like It. We have, of course, The Children of the Corn and Salem's Lot. Out of those three, I know we're talking about The Children of the Corn, but you could choose a different one if you like. What is your favorite movie adaptation of those Stephen King books?
Of those three, I am going to go with the original It series. I love I want to say it was 1990, 1991 or something. But I love the 90s It movie. I do like the It chapter one and I do like it chapter one. Uh, chapter two is another story. And then I do like the Welcome to Derry series, which is so I put it all together. So I definitely prefer the It franchise of those three adaptations.
Me too. I agree 100%. Even though Salem's Lot, something about like
It's
witches,
good.
vampires, they like resonate with me. I don't know. I'm a psycho.
N- Now, did you watch the remake?
Of the Salem's Lot,
Yeah.
oh, it was horrible. I'm gonna be real. I was in the remake of the Children of the Corn. Did you watch that one? I couldn't
So
take it.
thankfully, I was alone in the theater and by no surprise. But I went like it was the first screening at my theater. I guess people saw what I couldn't see in the trailer and were like, we're not gonna do it. I fell asleep. I actually fell asleep during that movie, and that was the first time that that's happened to me in the theater in that way. I woke up and I'm like, where are we at?
Yeah,
Yes, I
those
was not a fan.
those were not the remakes were they were not great. Salem's Lot I think was a little bit better. I couldn't even get through like the first 10 minutes of the Children of the Corn remake. That's horrible to say, and I'm sorry to the director. I doubt you're watching this, but if you are, I'm sorry. I just could not do it. That was just me. But
Yeah.
so we're talking about spring slashers, we're talking about the Children of the Corn. What is your favorite scene of this movie?
Oh, we're gonna skip far ahead because it is for me when the main protagonist, Burton, kind of finally convinces the rest of the children like that they're followers and that they shouldn't be following Isaac and Malachi, that this was wrong. And Malachi does this final bout with him, and Burton lands on top, and he decides to walk away. Malachi's trying to get the rest of the children to fight his battle for him, and they don't. So Malachi's like getting frustrated, and Isaac, who they already casted aside, and they let the man behind the rose, or I forget how they phrase it. Um, the big entity has already taken Isaac, and he takes a hold of him, and Isaac comes back from the dead to tell Malachi he who walks behind the rose is not done. He wants Malachi as well. I love that scene. I think it's creepy. It's that justification that you're looking for. Like, and I think that's kind of why I do enjoy this movie, even though sometimes I feel like I don't. I do like that it has that solid justification ending that I want.
And the makeup for that part was pretty. I mean, you see the opening scene, and I'm gonna spoil it because if you haven't seen it by now, it's been out for almost 100 years at this point. Go see it if you haven't. But the beginning really got me. Like I was like, okay, because I didn't really know a lot about the film going into it. I knew that there was something about children, going haywire. I didn't even know that it was like a religious theme, and nods to the Bible and stories of the Bible and things like that, which I like. I'm okay with religious horror, but it's not my favorite. But the opening scene, I was just like, okay, someone's spiking a coffee. Okay, maybe so. And then they just all drop dead, and I'm like, wow, what a way to open a movie, like
Yeah.
truly. And then it kind of goes a little dull for me until that point at the end, and it's like the you don't see a lot of blood throughout the film. You see a little bit. Um, it's kind of like some of those old slashers that, they'll get stabbed and then the next scene you'll see them running and you don't even see like a blood or anything. So I'm always like I always look for little things like that because I'm just such a like a person for like the details. But yes, I think that was one of my favorite parts as well, and the acting from the cast. And we see what was the main girl's name? I keep blanking.
Vicky.
Vicky. Now we see her. She was in Terminator. She moved on to do. She was just in Stranger Things. Like it really is a testament to the start of you know people's careers in old horror movies. Yeah, so the ground moving, that was crazy. I think that was well done. And I wanted to ask you, kind of just moving on to the next thing, what was your favorite kill of the movie?
Oh, my favorite kill. This is gonna sound terrible. Um, I like off the wall things. I like things that can make people feel uncomfortable at times, and especially if it's done so off the wall that it makes you uncomfortable, but then it turns silly and you're just like in that awkward laugh, but like you're also laughing, and it is the for outside of the opening sequence, it's the first kill, the main kill that kind of shows the whole movie, progresses the whole movie. And it's when the young boy knows that this is a cult, doesn't want to be a part of it, tries to make it through the rows, and he gets caught by the second villain, who is basically the muscle, Malachi, and he is killed in the cornfield, but then thrown in the middle of the road for the main protagonist to run him over. And he goes flying. It is awkward because it's a child, but this is Children of the Corn, where it's evil children, but I wasn't expecting the innocent children to die. So it just really took me aback when I first saw this. Even when I rewatch it, I'm just like, oh man, this one's rough to watch, but it's my favorite.
Honestly, when he went flying through the sky, I started laughing. I would have laughed if it was an old person, if it was a young like that's just me and I totally get that. I love that part because that truly is where it takes a turn in the film and you kind of see the main character go back into the corn, look through, see the blood and I think he should have had a more, pertinent reaction
Yeah.
running to his girlfriend and trying to, you know, but that's just me. But I love that part too, and I also this is horrible, very bad, but I do also love the end where the one girl comes back and he just I don't even know if it's considered a kill or what. He literally just slams the door in her face and she flies back into the I don't know, and then it just ends right
Yeah.
after that. It
I
just
mean, they made it dramatic enough where it feels like a kill.
that's
Like it does feel like she died by door slam.
was she dead? I will never know. We will never know. But I'm really excited that you picked this one because I got to watch it and um I really I as much as it's a little bit of a crazy watch, I really thoroughly did enjoy it. And I think that kids shouldn't be off the cuff all the time. You see some movies that aren't afraid to the
Go
kids
there.
but go there. But yeah, I overall I think this was a great movie, an awesome pick for a spring slasher. Definitely with like the lighting and the cinematography of it. For back in its time. Then you got the old man. I do feel bad about the dog. That is the one thing I do. You can do it with kids, just not animals. Come on.
I have been watching so many 80s movies lately on this journey thing that I'm doing, and my goodness, the amount of animal deaths that they had going on in the 80s. And it's across all cultures. Like, I thought I was safe moving into other foreign language films, and nope, they just got different animals that they're like, you like to kill dogs, we like to kill snakes. And I'm just like, there's so much happening. Animals were not safe in the 80s.
No. Thankfully, they're more safe now. I really do appreciate you coming on here today, hanging out with me, talking about the Children of the Corn. Now, do you have anything you want to let everyone know? Do you have anything coming up, or do you want to tell everyone where they can find you on socials?
Yeah, thank you. You all can find me on mostly TikTok and Instagram under Mike and Cereal. That's Cereal like the killer, not the box. And I am also on Rise from the Dead podcast. We've got some interviews coming out soon. And I am also on Voices from the Mausoleum, where we do found footage Fridays. We do interviews as well. So you can find me posting a lot, especially on Instagram, and just kind of being in everyone's business. And that's really all that I got going on.
Love it. And I'm gonna put Mike and Serial's profiles in the description. So please go follow him. He is an awesome friend of mine, such a great supporter and an amazing content creator right here in the horror community.
Thank you.
Also a part of the Echo Cell Collective. If you haven't done so, go check them out. They're amazing. And thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about horror.